At least 8 people were killed and several others injured after a suicide bomb exploded near a university in Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan. According to local media, the blast occurred at roughly 11:30 local time when the bomber detonated the explosives strapped to his body. A spokesman from the Afghan government confirmed the suicide bomb attack but did not release more details such as the attacker's identity. Following the attack, the wounded were taken to a hospital for immediate treatment. Preparations for a summit between US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un are going well, and the two are tentatively scheduled to meet at 9 a.m. Singapore time on the 12th of June. The announcement of the timing for the first meeting between the two leaders came just 3 days after Trump hosted a senior North Korean delegation at the White House bearing a letter from Kim Jong-un. Trump, who had previously cancelled the summit, abruptly announced the meeting was back on. The US and North Korea held the 5th round of working-level talks at the border truce village of Panmunjom. The topic of this round was on last-stage negotiations over the agenda for the historic summit between US President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Their previous meetings in Panmunjom were held on the 27th of May, 30th of May, June 2 and the 3rd of June, with the focus being on narrowing the gaps over how to achieve Pyongyang's denuclearization in return for Washington's security guarantee. Iran's top leader Ayatollah Khomeini says that he had ordered preparations to increase uranium enrichment capacity if a nuclear deal with world powers falls apart after the US withdrawal. He also vowed to never accept limits on Tehran's ballistic missile program. Tensions between Iran and West have resurged since President Donald Trump pulled the United States out of the world powers' 2015 nuclear deal with Tehran, calling it deeply flawed. Jordan's King Abdullah has asked Omar al-Razaz, a former World Bank economist, to form a new government after Hani Mulki resigned as the Prime Minister following the country's biggest protest in years. Public anger has grown over government policies since a steep general sales tax hike earlier this year and the abolition of bread subsidies. Jordan's economy has struggled to grow in the past few years in the face of chronic deficits as private foreign capital and flows have declined. First responders worked overnight to evacuate victims after Guatemala's Fuego volcano erupted, killing an estimated 62 people, including at least 3 children and injuring nearly 300. The volcano spewed an 8-kilometer stream of red-hot lava and belched a thick plume of black smoke and ash that rained onto the capital and other regions. A video filmed by a climber from neighboring Asantan volcano following a Fuego volcano the morning of the eruption, spewing lava and smoke. The eruption of Fuego, Spanish for fire, on Sunday was the biggest in more than 4 decades. Around 300 people have been injured since the eruption that sent columns of ash and smoke 6.2 miles into the sky, dusting several regions with ash. This year's deadly Florida school shooting are kicking off a 75-stop bus tour this month intended to register people to vote with the aim of building electoral support for reforms to U.S. gun laws. The tour is the latest step in a youth-led campaign sparked by the February massacre of 17 students and educators at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Comedian Jimmy Fallon made a surprise appearance at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School graduation ceremony. Fallon addressed senior students saying, and I quote, "The whole world has heard your voice, and that was you making a choice. That was you choosing to take something awful and using it to create change." Many of the Parkland students have become outspoken proponents of gun control, pressurizing companies to sever ties with the National Rifle Association and calling on legislators to pass gun safety laws. Tens of thousands of people gathered in downtown park in Hong Kong for an annual public commemoration of the Tiananmen crackdown on a rainy Monday evening. Filling 6 football pitches in the park, many held flickering candles, sang songs and chanted for democracy and an end to one-party dictatorship in China. Democracy activists say that commemorating the event is vital to preserve the memory of China's democracy movement and to protect Hong Kong's freedom. The United Nations aid chief says that there had been an incident with a UN ship being boarded by unknown forces off the Yemeni port of Hodeidah at the weekend, but it was over and the vessel had departed. UN Emergency Relief Coordinator Mark Lowcock was asked about reports of the boarding of Hodeidah held by the Iran-allied Houthi movement. He said that there was an incident, adding, "We do not know who's responsible, that they are investigating and the incident is over." According to Amnesty International, attacks by the US-led coalition against Islamic State in the Syrian city of Raqqa last year may have broken international law by endangering the lives of civilians. During its campaign to recapture the group's Syrian capital, the coalition did not take enough account of civilians or take precautions necessary to minimize the harm to them, Amnesty said in the report. Former US President Bill Clinton and best-selling co-author James Patterson released their thriller novel, The President is Missing. The plot revolves around a president who disappears following a cyber attack that threatens to bring the country and the world to its knees. In an interview on the 31st of May, Clinton and Patterson said that they were working vigorously from the start to tell a story that could be real. A small group of demonstrators protested outside the US Supreme Court after the court handed a victory to a Christian baker who refused for religious reasons to make a wedding cake for a gay couple. The ruling stopped short of setting a major precedent, allowing people to claim exemptions from anti-discrimination laws based on religious beliefs. The US Supreme Court handed a narrow victory to a Christian baker from Colorado who refused for religious reasons to make a wedding cake for a gay couple. The justices, in a 7-2 decision, faulted the Colorado Civil Rights Commission's handling of the claims brought against Jack Phillips, saying it had showed a hostility to religion. The commission says that Phillips violated the Colorado anti-discrimination law that bars businesses from refusing service based on race, sex, marital status or sexual orientation.
Fighting with Liberty Council, another one of my favorite organizations.
It's wrong. Go off the business or organization's message in favor of the
Starbucks executive chairman Howard Schultz is stepping down from the world's biggest coffee chain, fueling speculations that the outspoken liberal-leaning executive will make a US presidential bid. The 64-year-old has been with the Starbucks for nearly 4 decades and built it into one of the world's most powerful global brands. Under his leadership, the Seattle-based coffee shop chain went from 11 cafes to more than 28,000 cafes in 77 countries. The fossilized skeleton of an unidentified type of dinosaur was auctioned for more than €2 million in Paris on the first floor of the Eiffel Tower. The buyer is a French private individual who has promised the mystery dinosaur fossil will still be visible for the public. Almost 9 meters long, the skeleton is unusually complete at almost 70% whole. It was found at a site on the Morrison Formation in Wyoming in the United States in 2013. A cat shelter in rebel-held northern Syria's Kafr Nahal rescues and give medical attention to cats. The shelter is run by Muhammad Allah Al-Jalil, who has been mad about cats since he was a boy. When the regime ramped up its deadly bombardment of Aleppo's opposition-held neighboring neighborhoods, he and his fellow feline fans managed to save 22 of the city's cats. Family, friends and admirers of the late fashion designer Alexander McQueen took to the red carpet in London for the UK premiere of new documentary McQueen. Focusing on the designer's life, his work and his legacy, co-directors said that they sought to create not just a fashion film, but a film about an extraordinary man who happened to work in the industry. Alexander McQueen took his own life in 2010, but those attending the premiere hope his legacy will continue to live on. Apple unveiled the latest version of its operating system for the iPhone and iPad, iOS 12, saying it would make older devices such as the iPhone 6 work better. At its annual developers conference in San Jose, Apple said that iOS 12 could carry out simple tasks such as opening apps up to twice as fast as its predecessor, iOS 11. The company said that the operating system would work on the same devices as iOS 11, a range of products that date back to 2013. Moscow residents got a chance to take a close look at the World Cup trophy in the capital's famous Gorky Park. The trophy was displayed in a riverside pavilion shaped like a soccer ball. Those who came to the show could also see a spectacular promotional video inside the pavilion and buy World Cup souvenirs. The trophy will be on display until 7th of June. Russia will host the 2018 World Cup finals in 12 venues spread across 11 cities, which begins on the 14th of June when the hosts play Saudi Arabia in Moscow's stadium. Indian security forces successfully averted a tragedy by defusing an improvised explosive device or an IED in Indian Kashmir's Baramulla district. The IED, reportedly placed by militants in the Sopore area of the district, was discovered by the security forces by roadside. The area was cordoned off and a bomb disposal squad was rushed to the spot to defuse the bomb. An Israeli tourist was reportedly killed and 6 people, including 5 foreign nationals, were injured after a vehicle carrying them skidded off the road and fell into a gorge in Lahore Spiti district. Reportedly, the incident took place when the car carrying them was headed to Himalayan desert of Leh in Kashmir from India's hill town of Manali. The vehicle fell into a gorge, killing the Israeli woman and injuring 4 other Israeli tourists, a US national and a local driver. 7 fresh cases of dengue have been reported in the last week, taking the total number of people affected by the vector-borne disease in Delhi this season to 22. 21 cases of malaria and 13 cases of chikungunya have also been recorded till the 2nd of June. The cases of vector-borne diseases are usually reported between mid-July and November end, but this period may stretch up to mid-December. Even though India recycles 90% of its plastic waste and outperforms Japan, Europe and the US, a study has revealed that India continues to be among the top 5 countries generating e-waste. Over 95% of e-waste generated is managed by unorganized sector and scrap dealers who dismantle the waste instead of recycling it. This means that only 5% of the total e-waste gets recycled due to poor framework. The Muslims in the capital city of New Delhi thronged to the popular 17th century mosque Jama Masjid to share a large feast at the end of their day-long fast during the ongoing holy month of Ramazan. The devotees offered namaz, physical, mental and spiritual act of worship, and prayed before feasting on community meals all over India. Ramazan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, which involves rigorous fasting for about 30 days. In an open letter to remix versions of songs, veteran singer Lata Mangeshkar writes that she feels hurt when the original tune is distorted and new and cheap words are added. She further requested recording companies to look at songs as something that reflects our culture. Actor Sangeeta Balan, who is known for her role in TV serials including Vani Rani, has been arrested for allegedly running a prostitution racket in a private resort in Chennai. Many young actresses were reportedly involved in prostitution. Women from various states, especially from North India, were rescued and sent to rehabilitation center. As per reports, the Indian reality TV show Bigg Boss 12 will feature same-sex couples as contestants in the house. The show has reportedly planned to play a role in getting the society to accept homosexuality. Reports added that the makers are also looking for a controversial duo that is into the business of exotic dancing and adult services.